Ever wondered what the real cost of convenience is in our digital world? Tim Jensen, host of Intentionally Inconvenient, dares to question if convenience is truly the enemy of privacy. You'll explore the essence of privacy, why it's worth pursuing, and debunk the myth that it's a lost cause. Together, you will challenge the notion of, I have nothing to hide, and reveal why every bit of your information matters. Remember, all hope is not lost. It's time to reclaim your privacy in this intentionally inconvenient reality.
Hello and welcome to Intentionally Inconvenient, where we talk about personal freedom through securing your privacy. My name is Tim Jensen. I'm the host of Intentionally Inconvenient. And in our last episode, we covered the next step in our privacy bootcamp on level 1, which was web browsers. Today's episode, still on level 1, still on the stuff that you can do right away. We're going to be talking about search engines, including which search engines I recommend and which ones that I don't. You're probably not going to be surprised at some of this, but some of it you might be. First off, I want to make a list, because I made a list earlier on the different search engines that I'm aware of. There used to be hundreds. Hundreds. And then 1999 came around, and Google kind of just ate the market up, just took them over. So listing these search engines, there's still Google, obviously, they're a very powerful one. They're still number one in the market. Bing, which is by Microsoft. And then there's some other ones that you've probably heard of, but maybe aren't used as often. DuckDuckGo, Brave, Startpage, Freespoke, Searching, SEARXNG, and then Kagi, Kagi. So if there's one that I didn't list here that you're aware of, feel free to send me an email, the two-letter I's, at timjensen.email, so I know where it's coming from. And I'll add it to the show notes. I don't claim to know all the search engines any more than I know or claim to know all the browsers or anything else. So if there's something that's missing, or the instant messengers or whatever, if there's something I'm missing, send me an email, at timjensen.email, and I'll add it to the show notes, and we'll go from there. So in addition to all of the ways a web browser can track a person, it is incredible how much information you can gain by tracking a person's web searches. Some searches are mundane, but some are highly personal. Have you ever watched an episode on the Joe Rogan Experience and his podcast? Joe is a master of the small talk. He uses small talk to just kind of loosen the person up, make them feel comfortable in his podcast. So when he gets into the real important stuff, the person feels a lot more comfortable in being open and honest and discussing what they're talking about. He sometimes uses the following sequence to get into the mind of his guests. And you might even want to try this technique sometime when you make small talk with someone. I promise that I will explain how this is related to search engines when I get done with the story. Early in the conversation, Joe asks, "Where do you live?" Or maybe he'll ask, "Where are you from originally?" So where I live now is not where I'm from originally when I grew up. Once he gets his answer, he asks the more important question, "Why do you live there?" Imagine what the answer to that question can reveal. Maybe it's job related as to why they live there. Maybe it's something to do with their spouse or significant other, why they live there. Maybe it's just that they just like living there for a particular reason. Who knows? But the answer to that question can lead down a bunch of other topics to discuss. So before I continue with the thought process, I need to pay a few bills. And then we'll get back to the story on Joe Rogan. You got to remember that anytime I recommend a product or a service on this show, that it goes to help support the production of this show. I give you an affiliate link, and that affiliate link, if you make a purchase, gives me a small commission that I then use to help pay for the production cost of this show. So, I've talked about password managers. If you don't have a password manager, I'm going to recommend that you consider using Proton Pass. And you can find Proton Pass at goclick.me/ProtonPass. goclick.me/ProtonPass. I use Proton Pass now, and I absolutely love its flexibility. For instance, you can import passwords from any of the other major password managers, or I hope you're not doing this, but if you store them in your web browser, you can even import them from your web browser. But don't do that. Get it into Proton Pass. Even if you have over 600 passwords like I do, importing them is just a few clicks and you're done. Save time when you're filling out online forms. When we talk about personal aliases in the future, on a future episode, and I will get to that, you'll understand why this is so important. You can log in with autofill or with a passkey using Proton Pass. They'll store all that stuff for you. Proton Pass now even incorporates, and I love this. This just came about. I mean, this has probably been there for a while, but I just learned about this recently. They incorporate their email aliasing service, Simple Login, into Proton Pass. So talk about value. You can create all the different login email addresses, the aliases that you want, and it stores right into Proton Pass, and it's included in the price that you pay. Right now, they have a promotion, and I'm recording this on November 21st of 2024, where you can get 50% off of their regular price. So go right now to goclick.me/ProtonPass, goclick.me/ProtonPass, and get your password manager set up today. You'll really be glad you did. Again, that's goclick.me/ProtonPass. So now back to the search engine story and the Joe Rogan story. When you enter a topic into a search engine, what does that say about you? Like when Joe asks, why do you live there where you live? Kind of translate that into, why did you search for that? On this day, on this date, at this time, how is it related to your last or your next search? All of that kind of information can be tied together to put a picture together of what's going on in your mind. I'll go back to something I mentioned in the last episode. A search engine can record the time, date, and IP address of each search and each action that you make. They can record the websites and the web pages that you visited based on the search results and the links that you clicked on their page. They can record the device ID that's used. They can record the account that was logged in during the session if you have an account with them. They can record every keystroke and every mouse movement, including the speed of each, both the keystrokes and the mouse movements. And if you're logged in to that search engine, which more than likely you probably are, that can all be tied to you. It can record your router information, the ISP, the internet service provider that you use. They can even record the order of the websites and the web pages that were visited, as well as the duration of each stay at each web page. Do you see how much information is revealed about you based just on what you searched for and then what you did once you found the results? That's why it's so important that you choose wisely regarding the search engine that you are going to use. So now let's get around to the other side of the table and see things from the search engine's perspective. Search engines are a business. Search engines have to make money. They're a business. They're just not just nice people that are setting us all up just because we're nice. They're nice people. That's not why they're in business, though. They have to make a profit. They have to pay their employees. They have overhead bills. They have lights. They have heat. They have air conditioning, rent, or a mortgage to pay. They got, just like you, they've got a lot of bills to pay, and they want to make a profit so that they can move on, so that they can do better, so that they can get some things, do some stuff in their personal life. It's really just plain common sense. Either they have to sell ads to others, and then they incorporate those ads into the search results. Think of Google here. That's what they do. They can sell access to their API, and I looked this up. API stands for Application Programming Interface of other search engines. So let's say like DuckDuckGo. They take their search results from Bing. They plug into their API, they buy that access, and then they can resell it in other ways. Or they can charge you. This is a brand new concept. When I say brand new, I mean within the last couple of years. I just learned about it a couple months ago. They can charge you a subscription fee to use their service, but not serve any ads at all. Now that's an interesting concept. It's kind of like Proton email. Most of the time you get free email from these services, but free, as we've talked about in past episodes, has a real cost. So APIs, like I said, they're mechanisms that enable two software components to communicate with each other using a set of definitions and protocols. Many search engines will use and purchase either Google's or Bing's API to use, kind of like a private label. Then they rebrand it as their own. Also, in recent years, Google and Bing have been accused of bias regarding their search results, primarily due to who their advertisers are. And they use those results to promote those advertisers in multiple ways. It's rare for a search engine to start from scratch and build its engine from the ground up. Google did that, of course, and Bing did that, but that was 25 years ago that Google started. And Bing is by Microsoft, and they already have boohoo bucks. They got a ton of money that they invested in their search engine. To my knowledge, in the last few years, only Freespoke and Kagi, K-A-G-I, do this, where they build from the ground up. They start it over. They don't plug into another company's API. So, I've changed search engines many times over the past few years. Before my commitment to privacy, I used Google all the time, and I probably did it logged in. And Google probably knew more about me than my own mother did or my own spouse. It's just the way it is. Before my commitment to privacy, I used them. For a while, I used DuckDuckGo. They power their search through Bing. Once I started to understand the importance of privacy, I moved over to Startpage. Startpage, actually, what they do is they use the API from Google, but without the bias, because they're not obligated to serve up the same ads and get the same results as Google, so they can take out a lot of the bias. Until I heard a podcast in the last few months that discussed the business model of Freespoke.com. Now, today, I use Freespoke, and that's actually my homepage, is Freespoke. Not only did Freespoke build their engine from the ground up, but they also label their sources according to the source's bias. Not necessarily the bias in what the search results are, but the source's bias. So it could be left-wing, it could be right-wing, it could be center. And that may not appeal to you. That's okay. That's all right. It appeals to me, and it's something that I am interested in. There's plenty of value in other search engines to go around. So the reason I'm highlighting them is because that's who I use now. Maybe you want to find out ahead of time that I'm going to click on a source that's left-wing, or that's right-wing, or that's center. That's great. Then you understand going into it what you're getting. I think that's a wonderful concept. Whether you're right-wing, left-wing, center, whatever, it doesn't matter. You have an understanding before you click that link. You don't get that with Bing or Google. You just don't. My main goal here is to get you to consider alternatives to Google and to Bing. I mean, directly to those, not necessarily a Startpage that plugs in or DuckDuckGo that plugs in to their API and they buy the results so that they don't have to create their own database. If you like Google search results, consider using Startpage. I use Startpage.com for a long time. If you like supporting new businesses or if you like Bing search results, go use DuckDuckGo. Not a problem with that. But if you like supporting new businesses that either eliminate ads or at least they label their political bias, try Freespoke or Kagi, I think it's pronounced, K-A-G-I. Kagi or Kagi, I don't know how it's pronounced. You actually pay a monthly subscription, but they don't give ads. No ads whatsoever. Go to their website, check them out, see what you think. Just try something else other than Google or Bing directly, because you want to eliminate all that tracking and all that recording and all that permanent record that these companies are creating on you. The best way to do that is to use alternatives, and that's going to be the case in a lot of different areas. So that's all I've got regarding search engines for level 1 of the Privacy Bootcamp. In our next episode, I'm going to discuss one of my absolutely favorite topics, email aliasing. You can bet that there's probably going to be a promo about Proton Pass and Simple Login on that next one. But that's for another time. Email aliasing is a key component to maintaining your privacy online and offline. You won't want to miss this episode. It even helps eliminate spam in your life. Oh my goodness. It's such an awesome topic. I can't tell you. Until next time, my name is Tim Jensen, reminding you to stay safe and stay private. Thanks a lot for listening.
That's all for now from Intentionally Inconvenient, leaving you with a challenge to question the cost of online convenience. If you want to keep learning, subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Your reviews and 5-star ratings help reach more listeners. Until next time, remember, your privacy is never a lost cause. Stay safe, stay private.